Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, who was born today in 1929, was a cultural and fashion icon during her and John F. Kennedy's prime. However, the couple's iconic wedding was plagued with disasters days before the event, and many of Jackie's wishes were completely overlooked to ensure it would measure up to public expectation. John F. Kennedy married then Jacqueline Bouvier in 1953 in an event which would be attended by over 1,000 people and get coverage by international news outlets. The wedding day would be described as one of the most beautiful in recent history. However, the bride herself had very little say in anything regarding her special day. Jackie was a generally private person and told the Boston Globe, "I'm planning a small wedding." Her soon-to-be father-in-law, Joseph Kennedy, had other plans. He wanted to utilize the event's publicity to further his son's political reach, as John was a fairly new U.S. senator at the time. Joseph provided financial coverage for the event, meaning most decisions were his to make even if it was against Jackie's wishes. Arguably the most highly anticipated aspects of the wedding was Jackie's dress, which set her standard as a style icon of the time. However, the dress itself was Joseph's choice, not Jackie's, as she would later complain she felt like a lampshade. Jackie was highly interested in French fashion at the time, but Joseph was concerned that employing a French dressmaker or designs would alienate voters. Instead, Jackie found herself dressed by an African-American designer using a more traditional design, but the dress debacle would not end there. 10 days before the wedding, a pipe burst which destroyed the bridal dress as well as several attendant pieces. The designer, Anne Lowe, and her team desperately tried to recreate the dress and managed to succeed in making the iconic ivory gown just in time for the big day. The Rhode Island wedding was attended by thousands of powerful people, from politicians to entertainers. Already Jackie was not looking forward to being the center of attention, but even more troubling than the large audience was one missing member, her father. Don't miss, Jackie's parents had a rough divorce years earlier and were on no better terms when their daughter was getting married. As a result, she had not invited her father to a dinner the night before the wedding to keep the tension at bay. Distraught at his daughter's decision, John Bouvier reportedly went out drinking whilst the dinner was going on. Drowning his hurt, Bouvier found himself unable to walk his daughter down the aisle to the future President of the United States the next day. Thankfully, Jackie's stepfather was able to step in, but she was allegedly still devastated by the absence of her biological father. The bride and her stepfather walked down the aisle to find the groom waiting by the altar with a scratched face. The night before the wedding, the Kennedy family engaged in a game of touch football which saw the husband-to-be superficially injuring his face in the fray. While the ceremony went on without a hitch, the reception would prove to be a logistical nightmare. Over 1,000 people had been invited to the reception, with Joseph behind most of the invitations, but this caused vehicular and humanoid traffic jams in and around the venue. The newly anointed Mr. and Mrs. Kennedy reportedly spent 2 hours just shaking hands and welcoming all of their guests.